Now come to this particular question. Question ID number 47. K, age 26 years, leading tax consultant, maintains books on cash basis. Now, one of the main point here in this particular question is that it is on a cash basis. So, business income and income under the head other sources. These two heads of income are subjected to the method of accounting, and based on the method of accounting that we follow, you have to compute the income. So, cash basis is permitted here, and following particulars of income expenditure is given. Car is partly used for official purpose, that note we have to consider, and partly for private purpose. Okay. Now since this gentleman is doing this particular computation on the cash basis, even if it was a multiple years expenditure or multiple years income, so total receipt and total payments accordingly we have to consider in this particular year. Okay. Now first of all, purchase of a typewriter. Okay. Now, first ever doubt will come into picture, and it comes in the minds of the people that in a cash basis, can you get a depreciation as a deduction? This is always a doubt. But see, when it comes to the taxation, keep that in mind. All the fundamental principle, like for example, on an asset, you get that particular depreciation under section 32, that holds good as it is. But some people always debate on these kind of points, that if it is a cash basis, then even asset acquisition, I repeat, even the asset acquisition, you give it as a deduction, because after all, it is I'm something going to use it, but for the business purpose, something like that. Okay, but a depreciation is specifically governed by the block of asset system under the tax laws, and therefore asset acquisition should always go to the block and accordingly go for the depreciation. So what I will do is, see, balance brought down is 12,400. Closing balance is 277,400. I will start with the same thing, just take the difference, and that is 265,000. Okay, opening closing balance difference of receipt payment account which is given to us. Okay, that is the difference, and to that I'm going to do add less adjustments, and purchase of typewriter I'm going to add, and depreciation on that I'm going to less. Okay, so whatever is the depreciation, typewriter basically your asset, I will go with the depreciation 15%. Okay, half rate, full rate, data about date of number of use, all that not given. Okay, now car expenditure is 18,000, but for the car expenditure some data is given. Official purpose is 40,000 and private purpose is 60%. So I'm going to add 60% of, because it is private. Office expenditure is okay. Salary to staff is okay. Salary to staff is of the preceding year and of the previous year. So because now it is on the cash basis, that is okay. There is nothing wrong whatsoever. Thereafter, we have expenses with respect to the let out property. So this entire expenditure I'm going to add, because this is with respect to the let out property. And whatever is my house property income, that computation I'll have to do separately. So this is something which is fully I have to add. Okay, car purchased in the December, so I'm going to add. Okay, however, on that particular car I'll have to calculate the depreciation, and this 60/40 you should not forget. Okay, motor car, this 60/40, so even for the depreciation you have to do it like that only. Okay, repairs of the office, now this is repairs of the office premises, so that's okay, because but for the business purposes. Then after that you have interest on loan, so that is also business purpose, that is okay, no adjustment. Income tax payment, now income tax is not allowed as a deduction, so I have to add this particular 2,000 because income tax is not allowed. Then life insurance premium also not allowed, because that is your purely personal expenditure, so make the additions, so add that particular 8,000. Balance carried down, so I already it should be carried down. Okay, so 8,000 is added on account of LIC. Okay, now house property computation is pending, so as soon as I get that particular data I will do that. Okay, now on the receipt side. Okay, receipt side, balance brought down, I've already considered the difference of these two figures. Fees for the clients is your business income, So preceding year of the previous year, that's okay. Presents that you have received from the client is already your business income, so no adjustment. It is anyway your taxable income. Okay. Interest-free loan in cash. Interest-free loan in cash. So basically, it is a loan money. It is a loan transaction which is included in your receipt account. Okay. So since it is a loan, okay, whether for car, for medical emergency, and whatever. Okay, this particular loan is first of all not my income. So I'm going to less 1 lakh, less 38,000 because it is not my business income. Okay. However, with respect to a loan, there is one different concept. I will explain that to you. Just wait for right now. I'm focusing on business income, so I'm going to less because this is not my income. Now, cash received as an advance for the sale of residential house in Pune. So this is not my income. It is with respect to the house. So this is not my income. Winning from lottery is basically your income from other sources. So what you can do is you can less from business income and you can add 46,000 to income from other sources. So that you can easily do. There's nothing wrong. Interest on bonds, which is 12,000. Again, same thing you can do. You can reduce from business income and add this particular figure to income from other sources. So this is also done. Rent of a let out property. So this is a rent. So that house property computation I'll have to do. So from business income I'll have to less 60,000 because that will go in the house property, and house property computation separately I have to do. Share of income from the firm. So share of income is exempt. So this is I just have to less 15,000 because 15,000 is already exempt. Okay, so almost done with this particular situation. Now house property. Okay. Now when it comes to house property computation, see what we have. Data, we have the actual rent, that is 60,000. Now I think fair rent and all that, nothing, standard rent, nothing of that sort has been given to us. Okay, so your gross annual value by itself will become 60,000. Municipal tax is how much that you have paid. Actually during the year you have paid only 2,000. So 2,000 is your municipal tax. Net annual value will be 58,000. From this give the standard deduction and your house property. Is there any interest for house property? No, I think nothing of that sort has been given to us. So that much straight away is going to be your house property income. Okay, so house property income is already completed. Okay, so that's end of your house property income. Just give standard deduction from the house property, and that's the end of house property. So that way practically a simple question, but only thing that because it was that cash basis and all that, to just show you how this particular answer should be given. Okay, now one thing, in fact we have one separate chapter altogether, but I'm just telling you right now, only briefing you about it, not giving you the detailed knowledge of that particular chapter. But let me tell you, see, the interest-free loan, whether it is interest-free or something of that sort, a loan which is taken in cash, a loan which is taken in cash exceeding a limit. Okay, listen very carefully. There is a limit. You cannot take a loan in cash. I'm not telling you limit right now because that separate chapter only I have to teach you. Okay, so this particular money for purchase of car, okay, these 1 lakh rupees will straight away come for the penalty. There will be a special penalty application for the loan which has been taken in cash. However, in the penalty chapter, if you can justify that there was a reasonable cause, and the reasonable points that based on which you could have no other alternative, and you can justify, for example, medical emergency, you can justify this 38,000 rupees loan. So for this, there cannot be a penalty because you can justify that there was some medical emergency and I had to deposit money in the hospital and therefore I had to take a loan at that point in time. So if you can justify this, there cannot be a penalty. So basically there is a penalty with respect to any such transactions which are carried out. Now cash received as an advance for the residential house, even this cash transaction can come in the penalty analysis. However, I'm not discussing this 1 lakh rupees penalty right now, that whether there will be or not, because there is a separate discussion because this is an advance transaction. But keep this in mind. What I just want to tell you, that the cash transactions which are in your balance sheet category, I repeat, cash transactions which are in your balance sheet category, that means receipt of loan, okay, receipt of advances, all these transactions into cash can attract, I repeat, can attract a very unique and a very special penalty, which I will explain it to you afterwards, because that separate chapter only I have to explain that to you. And anyway, this question is not asking you about that, but I just wanted to brief you that keep this particular point in your back memory, and in the penalty chapter, something like this will once again come up for discussion. However, friends, in the given question, there is some totaling mistake in the question itself. So, I mean, that's a very unique situation. Question itself was a totaling mistake. So ultimately what I will do is I will just add it to the income to that particular extent. Normally students will not notice this. That's the reason I didn't tell you in the beginning. But there is a totaling mistake, and if any such thing come in the question, you better consider it as an income of the assessee where there are any missing numbers.